welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to all my new subscribers, welcome aboard. Today, in honor of February, I have a video about love. And so what it is I'm collaborating with several YouTubers out here, some wonderful women of God who asked me to speak on several subjects throughout the month. So you can look forward to a few more of these videos coming at you this month. Also, I will be listing the ladies' names who I'm collaborating with either below or someplace in the video. So please, by all means, log on to their channels and check out their videos as well. So for our videos, we have different subjects that we're going to be discussing regarding love and your husband. This week's discussion is on dating your husband. This is a really good one because I do believe that dating your spouse throughout your marriage is very important. I do believe, though, that the way you date your spouse does change as you all grow older and you've been married longer. For example, in the courting stage, my husband and I, he would take me to all my favorite restaurants. We would go out weekly and, you know, we would shop and do a lot of things that we both enjoyed at the time. Movies. I mean, it was constant out and about. Well, as our marriage has progressed in 13 years worth of marriage, our idea of dating one another is more intimate, I guess, is a good way to describe it, which means not as many people around. I do think we enjoy our time together when it's mostly just he and I. So just to give you some ideas of how to date your spouse and it not be predicated upon dinner or a movie. That seems to be the most popular ways that people think of dating. However, for my husband and I, what we do is we do make sure at least one night a week we do watch something that we both like together and alone, not with our children. So just he and I one-on-one. We like suspense type movies, so that's something that we have in common. So we usually have a movie night. Sometimes we have that once a week, but sometimes we do have it twice a week depending on how busy we are. So we do carve out time to do something one-on-one like that. Also, I do think it's very important when you're talking about dating, when you're talking about dating, it's giving that person that one-on-one attention to let them know that they're loved, they're important, and that they're thought about. So for me, it is sometimes a process, okay? You know, it could start early in the day. Like my husband will leave in the morning. Before he leaves, even if I'm sleeping, he'll lean down, say, babe, I love you, and he'll kiss me, even if I'm sleeping. So that starts the process. Later in the day, if he's busy, usually he calls me every day from work to say, what are you doing? How are you doing? You guys know I stay at home. So what are you doing? How are you doing? So he lets me know that I'm on his mind, even though he's working. If he's busy and he hasn't had the chance to give me a call, then I'll send him a little text sometimes when I'm thinking about him, just to let him know that I love him and that I appreciate him. And, you know, all those little sweet things. Whenever they cross my mind, I don't take it for granted and let it go as a thought. I always try to let him know. And he's very good about doing the same thing. So, okay, as the day is progressing, and let's say he's coming in from work, one thing we do is we always greet one another with love. We either embrace with a hug or a kiss, and we immediately stop whatever we're doing, whoever is coming in at the time, and we engage one another at that time, because he's important to me and I'm important to him. And I do believe it's very it's really important to let your spouse know that they're important by your actions, not just saying, oh, I love you here and there, but when your spouse comes in and they've been gone all day, to drop everything, to engage that person and let them know that they are important, I do believe displays that love. And I do think it's very important to display your love to your loved one, because we don't know what tomorrow may bring. And so putting off things for tomorrow that are really important to you, it's not really a good idea. It's always important to show your love on a daily basis. So we don't eat dinner together every night, depending on what our children have going on. It could be a busy night of homework, different things. So what we try to do is we sit down together as a family at least a few times a week. But on those nights where people are in and out of the house and eating at different times, my husband and I always try to sit down and have our meals together instead of separate, so that we could have that time to have some good conversation. Now, let me just piggyback on good conversation for a minute. I do believe that a very big part of dating is good conversation. If you can't talk to one another and share different things with your spouse, who can you share them with? And it really makes you feel special. It makes you feel connected. And when you're married, you're one flesh. You've come together as one. And so what other way to feel like one other than engaging your mate in conversation and just telling your mate about your day, different things that happen, your thought process. And for us, we always talk about different things that have come up through the day that we could either be grateful for, giving God glory for, just, you know, challenges that may come up, but how they didn't take us down. That's one of the things that we do a lot. So we either have that discussion during our one-on-one meals, or just after we both come in, or he's come in the house, everything is settled down, we'll take that time to just discuss whatever is important or whatever happened in our day. Another thing that I think is that adds to that dating process is to give your mate something that they enjoy. Now, an example of this, or some time to do something that they enjoy. A good example of this is my husband is a huge sports fanatic. I like sports, but I'm not into it that much. So I know that when he comes in, he may have recorded his sports shows or what have you. And instead of me wanting to watch what I want to watch, or him to give me all of his attention, after we've had our talk and we've settled in and we're relaxing, then I feel like it's a good thing for him, or to make him feel good, to let him watch something, one of his sports shows or something, for like an hour or so. And he'll do the same thing for me, because I love watching YouTube. So I watch my vlog families, people that vlog here on YouTube. If he comes in and I'm looking at my vloggers, we'll stop, talk a little bit, everybody get relaxed, and then I'll watch some of my vlogs. And that's his way of showing me he cares for me, he loves me. And, you know, that's doing things around your home. Another good one to me is making a meal together. When my husband and I are in the kitchen together and we're preparing our meal, I just find it to be the most enjoyable and close experience. It is something that I really, really enjoy about our relationship. When we first got married, he really didn't cook. And so over the years, he's learned to cook and to spend that time with me in the kitchen. We usually have some music playing, and, you know, we're talking the entire time we're preparing the meal. And it's really, really a good time together. So the big thing about dating your spouse, to me, is just making the time, making that person feel important, not always being preoccupied with what's going on in your own individual life, and maybe what has been happening to you during your day, but actually taking a moment, putting those things aside, and spending some one-on-one time with your spouse. A couple of ideas for dating outside of your home, because everything starts at home. The foundation for your life starts in your home. And then, you know, it can proceed outside the door. A couple of ideas are doing things, exploring something that may be interesting to one of you. For example, I love wine, but I'm not a wine connoisseur. I find it very interesting. Since I've been on my weight loss journey, I really don't drink very much of it, but my husband looked up a wine tasting place that's near us, one that will educate us on the different wines. We're actually going to do that soon, so that's exploring something that neither one of us know a lot about, and nor have we done before. So that's a good idea, or something something that you wouldn't normally do. I think also going to a place where you can play games together is also fun here and there. You know, you want to do something adventurous and have a good time with one another. Doing it with other couples is also good. You know, meeting at a place that has games like that for adults, like the air hockey, pool tables, you know, places like that where you can meet up with another couple and you guys can, you know, compete with one another, just making that time. You don't always have to go with another couple, but it does add a little bit more interest, and it gives you time to kind of discuss things about one another that you may not discuss one-on-one. Another idea for dating your spouse would be, when you're raising children and you may not have enough money to go out all the time and bringing it back into your home, a good idea, one thing that we've done over the years, especially when you're raising small children, you don't have the money to go out all the time for expensive dinners. So one thing that I've done over the years is buying candles, candlesticks, and planning a special meal for my husband. And so I would feed our kids, have them all eat together. This is when they were definitely smaller. Now it's a lot easier. You don't have to have all the setup. But just to give you an idea, in case someone out there has small children, you can set up the candles, set up your placemats, and set up your meal, how many ever courses you want to have for your spouse, and just set up that time for you and your spouse, one-on-one, at home. And it could be, you'll be surprised what you can pull out of your freezer to make a real nice meal, you know, kind of along the lines of fine dining, and really put your thoughts into it. Like, do several courses. You may have a soup course, a salad course. Place the napkin in your husband's lap, and, you know, light your candles. Make sure the lights are turned down, really set the mood, and then you can enjoy each other right in your home without going out and spending tons of money that you don't have while you're trying to raise your family. So just a thought, something to put out there just in case. Sometimes when people hear the word dating, they automatically think that they have to spend all this money, and you really don't. And you really, really can enjoy it. Oh, another thing with the candlelight dinner, have some nice music in the background. That's another thing that we do a lot of. We have music in our home, and it's something that gives us all joy. We have singing children, and we all just love music. So, you know, once a week we would set up and start dancing around with our family. My husband and I dance all the time together too in our home, whether it be while we're cooking, he may spin me and dip me or what have you. So all that goes along with dating your spouse. Hopefully that's a good one for you, just so that you know you can do it cost effectively as well. Another way to make your spouse feel special, to let them know that they're important, and this is a big one in today's society, is taking your electronics and putting them away, focusing only on that one-on-one time. A good way to do that, this is something that my husband and I do a lot, is in order to enjoy our home, because a lot of times when we're working, we're raising our families, or if not, you may be busy working. A lot of times you don't get to enjoy this home or whatever environment you've built. It's always the one-on-one or running and constantly on the run, fast food, fast environment. You know, microwave generation is what they call it. For my husband and I, what we'll do is we'll put our electronics to the side, and we'll spend a couple hours outside enjoying our home, enjoying the nice weather. We usually do it in the summertime, and we will either sit on a deck or sit in our garage, depending on where the sun is. But we'll put our electronics away and we'll just enjoy. We'll have us a nice little drink to sip, like I'll make us some iced tea or lemonade, or even if we're not constantly talking, you know, I may be reading a book and he may be, you know, we may be talking, or we may be discussing a new book that I'm reading, or something that we may want to do. We may be making plans. So that one-on-one time where no one's calling, texting, you're not checking your Facebook, is very important, and it plays into the dating process because your total attention is on your spouse. Also, if you don't have children, your life may not be consumed with everything that's going on with the kids, but you still should set aside time to date your spouse. A lot of times, you start out younger and you don't have children, and you both are very busy with work or other extracurricular things that may interest you. When you first get married, your spouse may be a bowler, or your husband may play basketball, or and a lot of times those things keep you constantly moving in different directions. Even in that scenario, even in that situation, you want to set aside time to spend some time with your spouse. And even if you're young and you don't have children, you can also do those things in your home as well. And you can be really creative, because then you don't have to do it around your kids' sleeping schedule or around your kids' sports events or what have you. You just have that time one-on-one. And I just want you to know, take advantage of it. Enjoy one another, because it really truly is a blessing from God to be able to enjoy your husband. Another idea is something that my husband and I do all the time. We call it instant date. Well, he just penned the phrase, and I just so love that. What we do is, let's say we've gone out, we've had a long day, whether it be church, we've ran errands, we've grocery shopped, whatever you've done, and when you pull up into the garage, instead of you just running into the house and getting right back into whatever else you want to do, we would stay in the car and just talk to one another for sometimes it's almost an hour. I mean, we'll talk 15, 20 minutes, give or take, but we may even stretch it out. And for us, it's an instant date, because you don't have kids calling your name, distracting you. It's just straight up one-on-one time, sharing your heart. We do this a lot sometimes, like when we come home from church, and let's say, things that have been discussed during that time, teaching that has come across, things that really, really cause you to need to share your heart with someone. Well, that's what we do. We share our hearts with one another, and we stop whatever we're doing and we talk to one another. And actually, I told my husband the last time that we did that we should film and call it car conversations, because it's so much that we talk about, and it's very, very uplifting. Just very interesting conversation, but it's one-on-one. It's set aside just for us. Our kids don't even bother us. When they see that we've stayed in the car for an extra 15 to 20, they just let us stay outside. Very rarely do they come and say, well, Mom, Dad, this, that, or that. They just let us have that time. And so if you like that idea, I'm telling you, you need to try an instant date with your spouse. You'll really, really, really enjoy it. Okay, so another one, and this one comes from my hubby, is spending time together, planning things for your home, things that you may be thinking about doing around your home, and going out and looking at different things, kind of shopping together, window shopping, or dreaming, sharing your ideas. We love to do that. We love to go and look at home, little things for your home, and share our ideas and how he likes this or I like this. We have two opposite styles. Not really, though. We have styles that can be a little bit opposite, but in some areas they blend. And so for us, decorating is one of those challenging things, but it's not really challenging, because we just decided to just enjoy one another. And so when we go and look and do different things, we try not to be too uptight, and we just enjoy the process of looking and spending that time together. This one I think is very important. It may kind of piggyback on the next subject, but I think when it's kind of along the lines of making your spouse feel important. One thing that I do not do is I don't stay up late talking on the phone with girlfriends, family members, etc. When my husband is retiring for the night and he's going to bed, I usually am there with him. And if I am talking on the phone with someone, I will hang up, because most people who know me know that we have set aside time for pillow talk, is what we call it. So we just spend that last time together before we fall asleep, talking, being with one another, and sharing whatever else we didn't share before earlier in the day. Because when kids are around, things get busy and you get distracted, and you don't always get the chance to finish out everything you wanted to say. So we make sure that we carve out that time. And I do think that's part of dating your spouse. Making sure that that time is there for you to have time one-on-one. And really, honestly, you can get as creative as you want when you're talking about one-on-one. And I'm talking about dating in a marriage. I know this is the month that's celebrating love, and a lot of times people have a lot of different perspective as far as that is concerned. But this perspective is from my perspective with dating your husband, and this is from a wife's perspective. So I hope something that I said sparks a thought, or maybe you may feel like you may want to spend some time with your spouse, and you may not necessarily have to plan for a restaurant, champagne, or it doesn't have to be a special occasion. That's another thing about us. We don't wait for special occasions to celebrate one another. We celebrate each other every day. So when the restaurants are overly full on Valentine's Day and we're not there, it's no big deal, because if right now he came home and he felt like celebrating, we would toast one another and we would enjoy that moment. So if you do that every day, you don't feel like you have to go according to the world standard and celebrate when people say you should celebrate. If you celebrate your spouse every day, you will never feel like you're missing out on anything like that, any of those events. So hopefully this is was some helpful information. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this will encourage you to love on your spouse. And I hope you'll be looking forward to the next video in this series all month long, once a week. I'll be recording a video in collaboration with these other women, and we'll be discussing another subject next week. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.